Hey, soul survivors, we are live, ready for our live chat where we get to talk about whatever we want to. So, we're going to talk about the narcissist sixth sense and a lot of different things. I had realized that a relationship with a narcissist is kind of like the sixth sense. So, if you've ever watched that movie with Bruce Willis, it has a crazy little twist at the end. And I got somebody logging in, so I'll go ahead and start my story in just a second. But good to have you here. Thank you for that thumbs up. Fantastic. I love that. So, how was your day? I just had a fantastic day. I got to celebrate my friend's birthday with her, and I still got to turn on the live chat. There we go. So I can see everybody. It is Debbie. Good. We could talk about the trauma bond as well. But I was just telling a story about the sixth sense. I was driving home, had, I don't even know, 2 hour drive or so. And I was thinking, with the narcissist and the relationship, and a lot of times they bail on us. And what is it that causes this discard that happens so often to so many of us? And it's kind of like uh, going into a movie and you're watching it and watching it for a little bit and you see this little scene and you're like, I don't know, is this movie worth it? And you bail. So you don't know exactly what is coming. And I thought about the movie The Sixth Sense. So if you were in that movie theater and you see this movie, it's not quite going the way you expected, you would just go to a different movie if they allowed it. You can ask them for permission to do that and then just enjoy that movie. It turned out great. You think that is better than the first movie. So the movie The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis, it takes this turn at the end that is completely not understood or foreseen, and it really makes the movie. So you have to go through pretty much this whole movie, and then it's like that wow factor, like, are you kidding me? But it was good. It made the movie worth watching. But the narcissist in a relationship is kind of like that. They go through it, it's fairly good, fairly good. One little thing, or two or three little scenes from our relationship, and they're like, this isn't going to be worth it. That they bail before even knowing what is really at the end. And you've been dealing with this trauma bond all day. I'm giving myself anxiety now. And I'm proud of the way you said that, that you said, I'm giving myself. It is from our trauma, but because you had said, I started reading it and I was just on a time crunch, plus my phone is charging, so I didn't have time to read. But you had said, he is. Um, causing me to think, or he is, I can't remember your exact words. Let me see, because sometimes too, let's see. Okay, 9%. My battery is starting to charge. It was just the way you worded it. Let's see. Um, oh, maybe. Hold on. It has me. Good for you. Okay, I thought you said he. Wait, it has me, and he makes it so strong. So the way you said it has me and he makes it so strong, that it is our inner turmoil that we're going through, and he's not doing anything. He's not contacting you, he's being a jerk. So technically he's not doing it to you. uh, the trauma has been done to you. He was, but this time it's me. Okay. Yeah, and this time, there are times we're addicted to that anxiety. We need to feel something. We feel so deadened or confused. And let me plug this back in just in case I get an emergency call. My mom's doing much, much better, but I still keep it on me. And Debbie, I want to ask you about your day today. Were you bored, lonely? Did you oversleep or undersleep? Did you eat the right way? Is there something coming up at work? Sometimes we have outside triggers too, and they can put spells on you, which is is he into witchcraft? Because you're retired. Okay. So is he into witchcraft? Because yeah, if witchcraft is true, which there are some crazy things. I can't say it's not true. I'll put it that way. That if he is going to put a spell on you, he has to put that spell on you, and is even into it. Um, And he might be, I've met a couple people who do those spells, and, um, some people believe in them, and some people don't. But, you know, uh, the more we believe in spells taking effect, the more likely they are, whether it's a placebo effect or real effect. When we keep our guards up, we protect ourselves more. Whether it's, like I said, the placebo. I don't know that answer on is witchcraft real, are ghosts real, are aliens real. We all have our take on it, but there's no concrete, complete answer. Um, but I'm just curious if he does. I started planting my seeds today. Sweet peppers, cherry tomatoes, and onions. Ooh, you're gonna have a good little salad going. That's great. Yeah, today was beautiful. We're supposed to have snow coming up. It's so crazy. Today it was another hot, sweaty day. It was 80, but it felt like it was like 95, 96. It was just so beautiful. And then it started to rain a little bit, so it got cooler. We're supposed to go into the 40s and then sleet and maybe even colder. I'm hoping for some freezing rain so I don't have to go to school on Monday. But the trauma bond I know is really got a hold on you. And that's due to our brains being uncomfortable. It was 88 and then it rained down to 65. Yeah, I had a tank top on. I'm wearing my sweater now. It changed pretty quickly. It's still nice, but it is definitely cooler. Um, but our brain has been rewired. We're not getting the amount of dopamine that we need. Also, I need to do a video on cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone, and sometimes you can see weight gain, sometimes around the belly. That sometimes it's like, where's this extra weight coming from? And there are times we do the comfort eating, but is the weight equivalent to the extra amount of calories? But cortisol is our stress hormone, and it can be stresses on our body, stresses from work, stresses from and weight loss. It's probably because you're not eating as much. Would that make sense? Sometimes high stress can get our blood pumping too, and maybe we pace a little bit more. Yeah, I've done it both ways where I've gained weight and lost weight. Usually I lose weight when I go through this stuff. But it is something that I want to do a video on. People are different. People are different. Also depends on, where you are, if you're female, and your transitions through life. And I don't know enough about males because I haven't done that video yet because I need to study that a little bit more. um, but the trauma bond, we're lacking the necessary hormones. We have an overabundance of some, and we talk about the energy. When we have too much adrenaline going through our body, you've lost a lot. It's taken me since February, March, April. Hold on. Do you mean 160 pounds since February or February last year? 160 pounds. Let me know if you mean in over a year or since February 2023. Is that what you mean? Do you mean since? Whoa, there might be something more going on, Debbie. 160 pounds. So February, March, in 2.5 months, 160 pounds. Oh, no, last year. Okay. Okay. Um, since last year, I can see that happening. It is possible. And are you at somewhat of a healthy weight now? Not that it was good for you to lose so much, but is it a healthy weight now? Or are you like 80 pounds or a healthy weight? Um, Stress does take its toll on us. We have to remember that's why the self care is extremely important. I know there's times we just don't want to do anything. We get depressed, and we we have to realize that we are our own best friend. If you saw your friend struggling, would you be like, "No, sweetie, you need to eat, it's not healthy." Not that you're food pushing, but, do you know how many calories you're eating a day? Because, you know, being underweight too. Hey, Alicia is here. Alicia, good to have you. Yes, I was taking fat burners for women. I see my doctor a lot. He said I'm doing great. I eat healthy. Um, so was it because of stress or because you were on a mission to lose weight? So that makes a difference too, if you're trying to. Does your doctor know about the fat burners? And yes, hi, Alicia says. Um, he said you're doing great. Does he know you're taking fat burners? Um, on a mission. Okay, good. Then you're good. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. I was just going to say, if it was due to stress and you start getting too small, it can take a toll on your heart when there's not enough fat within our bodies. It starts taking away the fat layer on top of our heart, and then it can destroy our heart muscle. It'll start attacking our heart muscle. Also, we can eat away at our brain, and also stay hydrated. Our brain, I believe, is 80% water. And when we start becoming dehydrated, it messes with our mind as well. So, John is still having phone problems. My goodness. Um, is it the actual phone? Or I thought it was like something trying to connect. I know he's having a hard time with that. I know he wants to join us. Water, water, water. Yep, and we can't overdo it. Anything in abundance is dangerous too, because sorry, you guys know I'm a teacher. And that water, 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 there's water, 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 water cycle, water, water, water. There's this whole dance to the water cycle. That's so funny. Water, 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 water cycle. It's the phone. Okay. Man. Poor guy. Yeah, if it's the phone, he probably needs a new one with sliced lemon. That's not part of the song. It's a good song, the Three Guys. Sorry, brings back memories. They're good. But it just threw me off. But yeah, as far as water, if you drink too much water, that it can be deadly. And you need the flavor. That's okay. Put some flavor in there. There's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people are like, drink your water, drink your water. It's okay to add other stuff to it. It just means you're getting water. Sometimes we pull our water from the foods we eat. You pee a lot. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's cleaning out the toxins. But that's the thing, as it's cleaning out the toxins. And Alicia, I don't think you've heard this, W. I've said it before. I'm not sure if you've heard it, but so as far as the water, if you drink too much, it can actually be deadly. And in relation to a narcissist, I brought this up in one video where there was a study of this guy drinking like excess amounts of water, and at first it had positive. So yeah, okay, so where it has a positive effects, and for my viewers that are joining in, so it'll have a positive effect, and over time it gets toxic, and then you start to crave it, and that's a lot of like our narciss narcissistic relationship. It starts out good, and then it starts turning toxic, and then we crave it. Like our body will even do that with water. And so we have to be aware that some things that look good can turn toxic and then can kill us or kill our spirit. We're all soul survivors. Gatorade is good. It's got those electrolytes. Yep. And it helps keep our bodies in optimal functioning. And as far as the brain, though, um, cranberry grape drink. Oh my gosh, you guys can get me thirsty. Me too. I love Gatorade Zero. You know what is the best? Is Crystal Light Pomegranate Cherry. It's so good. It's my favorite. It's like a fruit punch, but so good. Um, Ocean Spray. I grew up on Ocean Spray. We usually got the cranberry or cranberry apple. My goodness. You drinkers you. But we're lacking the dopamine, we're lacking the serotonin, we have an increase of the adrenaline. Some of us had that cortisol. Our brains are kinda out of kilter. And we have to lower the adrenaline by increasing some of these other hormones that we go through. So that's why it's important to practice the self love, self care, positive thinking, doing our exercise. You take melatonin that helps you sleep. Does that seem to help you sleep? A lot of people, like it. I like it because they come in gummies. That's the only reason I like melatonin. They come in gummies. I was the healthiest woman in the world for a little bit, had my vitamins and, sleep is important, exactly, and melatonin can help relax you. Always take the prescribed dose, don't overdo it. Um, that's the other thing too. Sometimes taking more can make it worse. You take vitamins, that's good. I tried taking calcium. I cannot take calcium for the life of me. Luckily, I eat a lot of cheese, but I don't drink milk. I used to eat ice cream, don't eat ice cream, but sometimes we can get certain things that we need in different ways. So as far as, this love stuff that we're going through where we have these broken hearts, we can repair ourselves, not necessarily with that same thing. Just like, getting your calcium doesn't always have to be from milk, it can be from other things. And we can start increasing our uh, cohesiveness, that's not the right word, our balance with other things. And, we have to address it though. We can't just um, try to fill ourselves without dealing with the issue. Otherwise, it's always going to resurface. Oh, I don't even buy it because Ben and Jerry's is like the best. um, yeah, Ben and Jerry's is almond milk ice cream. Yeah, and that's the thing. If it's good, do we have self control? We have to know our limitations. If you got self control, go for it. If not, I get the cheap stuff, so I don't need as much. Debbie says if I ignore him, yes, the narc, then I'm unhappy. But if I talk to him, he ignores me. So either way, I'm screwed. If you ignore him, then you're unhappy. But if you talk to him, he ignores me. Yeah, it's like a no-win situation. Even if you talk to them, they'll go back to ghosting you or not understanding you or hanging up on you. Um, How long's it been, Debbie, since you talked to him, and are you on another good streak of no contact? Or are you still reaching out to him? I don't judge here. It's just to kind of help understand where you guys are at. Alicia says, I can't eat regular ice cream anymore. Yep. And that's the thing, we taste the best of the best, get used to it, and that's what we want. Uh, June 10th. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while. And, there comes a point in time where we can and I get it. I get where the hope comes from. I understand where you guys are coming from. That we can sit around and hope for them to communicate with us and just sit around, be depressed. They're if they're gonna call us, they're gonna call us either way. Like if there's no contact going on, just better yourself. Go out with your friends and do certain things or you know, take care of yourself in other ways. And if he did come back, it's meant to be, you've bettered yourself. And usually what happens, you know, in when you're in a better state, you're more marketable, I guess, showing who you really are, what you can achieve. Um, and if you're in that state, you can kinda evaluate the situation better. I am pretty, I am smart, I am together, I am this, as opposed to, "I get it, I know why you don't wanna be with me, I'm a mess." It just changes. And Debbie, you're so sad. I know. Um, I know, and that's the hard part. People who make you happy, It's a different kind of trauma bond though, where I've done that, that it's momentary. Even when you're hanging out with those people, you get those bursts of sadness even when you're having fun. It's kind of mind blowing. You're like, I'm having the best time of my life. I wish he was here. I wish he could see me what I was really like. And then you get sad. Um, you still have a smile on my face. It hurts at times. Yeah, sometimes we feel like we're just faking it, We're like, "Yeah, I had a great time." And I've had that before too. I was on the verge of a breakdown. I felt like my eyes were starting to well up, and, I was working at a bar, and one customer, he was like, "How do you do it?" He's like, "You are always so happy." And I'm like, "I just am." And I was literally on the verge of a breakdown. And what was it that I wanted to say as far as what was the example of people on Facebook? Oh, such a good example of posting happiness, and it was somebody who's, like, so, so sad. Um, it'll come to me, but I wish I could remember who it was. Um, I think it was a famous person because I wanted to share it with you guys that, they, people post things just like, we go through it too, the fake it till you make it. We're worried about making other people comfortable. And Alicia says, I have many hobbies and interests to make me happy. Yeah, we have to get to the point where we're content with ourselves, And, oh, South, hey, pimp. Hey, what's up? Never been called that before. But Debbie says, I was hanging out with some friends last night until almost 2 a.m. And yeah, I know. I'm kind of thinking I know who this is. We'll see. We'll see. Get yeah. We'll see, and then I'll talk more. Um, but yeah, the uh smiles, or I'm sorry, the hobbies and things like that. But we have to address the situation and uplift ourselves, that we understand maybe things didn't work out, but it is not a reflection on us. And, you know, when we build ourselves up, when we take that self-care, we are showing ourselves that we're worth it. When we don't take the self-care, and I don't know who you're referring to, if you're referring to me. Um, but you're referring to me? Cynthia Schiller, that you're asking me. Um, but thank you. Thank you, Alicia. So, yeah, I haven't seen that name before. I might know who you are, but if not, so how can I help you, South Michigan Media? Have you been struggling with certain things with narcissism or mental illness? I had another sad story today. One of my students, I found out, had passed away, and I don't know. We are too into ourselves. Are you talking about me? We have to take partial responsibility. Um, and I think I know who. So, as far as do we need to take personal responsibility, there are things that we've done, and I have mentioned, the reactive abuse, how people are like, is reactive abuse abuse? And I said, we can be the abusers sometimes, that just like in criminal law, my degrees in criminal justice, I taught criminal law at Grand Valley State University. I've been to law school, and when you're in the middle of a life threatening situation, you can use force against a person. It's supposed to be equal or lesser than force. But if it's in self defense, you can utilize force, even deadly force. But if that person turns away, and then you attack them, you are responsible for that attack. It is not going to be seen in the court eyes as acceptable. So whether were scared, shot at them after they left, attacked them, threw something at them, you cannot attack them once they retreat. So that's when it's seen as abusive. So with our relationships, when we're like, fuck you, motherfucker, because we're mad about something that should have already been handled, that is abusive. And I don't like Western, especially American women, very much like when I see other white guys with Asian ladies. Um, I can see what you're saying. Like, there are, sadly enough, mail order brides or some of those Asian ladies needing or agreeing to whether they need money for their families or looking for citizenship or a way out. Um, and the Western women, I will say, are different than a lot of different countries. There's different cultural things, what's acceptable, what isn't acceptable. And um, that's the thing. You're right. It's not always about us. And the thing is we're trying to come to even ground. Empathetic people realize it is not all about us. But when we try to have an equal, somewhat fair, and I did mention too, I don't know, where are you from? I don't believe you're from South Media, Michigan Media. I just have a guess. Somebody asked me where I was from, so it's kind of ironic that that's your name. Um, but Debbie says I help people too, and my kids' friends as well. They are all adults now. And you go on the defense, but there's a time, just like in that criminal situation, there's a time you have to retreat. You might be still all fired up, scared, filled with adrenaline, but there's a line. Um, Everyone is different. I'm from over here. Yeah, me too. um, the fight, flight, or fawn. Yep. And sometimes we fawn and become super victims. We fight, but we have to be careful when we fight that we don't like react above and beyond. Just like if somebody punched you, doesn't give you the right to um, kill them with a gun. That equal or lesser. Deflecting. Uh, I'm tired. It's 11:30 at night. Deflecting from which part? Where am I deflecting? Michigan, okay. Tell me what I'm deflecting about because it is 11:30 and I'm super tired. So I will, as far as it not always being about us, I pretty much answered that we do try to have it equal. We want to provide for the person because we love them. And it's not where we want to provide what we want to provide. We provide what we think they need, and we even ask them. I'm not trying to deflect. I'll go ahead and answer that question. It's sometimes hard when you read certain things and you got new thoughts coming in your head. So I'll go back. Tell me what I'm deflecting. Star Trek. I don't watch Star Trek. um is that from Star Trek, that quote? There you go. We just need to have a Star Trek Soul Survivors. But I have no problem redirecting, and that's the thing. Like a narcissist, if you tell them they're deflecting, they're not going to go back on topic. I'm ready to go back on topic if you want to tell me what it is that you think I deflected off of, because we do try extremely hard to understand the other person. There comes a time when we're trying to understand what is going on and we try to communicate with them. And we're human too. There are times that some of our triggers from our past, not everybody is perfect and you go through different stages in your life. uh, So am I getting the silent treatment or ghosted when I asked you what am I deflecting from? I'm just teasing you. But if you'd like me to go back on topic, I'm not deflecting. You just have to tell me so I understand. That's good communication. Scotty Deflector Shields, Captain Kirk. I saw Captain Kirk's real house. It was kind of cool. Is it Leonard Nimoy? Oh, no, you're not the one. I'll go back on Trauma Bond. That's not what he's talking about. Or she, could be a she. I don't think they're talking about, that's not deflecting. That I got off topic, but getting off topic is totally different than deflecting. Deflecting is not wanting to address the situation. I can definitely talk about the trauma bond. You're adding the humor. Thank you. Sometimes humor helps. Thanks, Alicia. But the trauma bond, uh, uh, yeah, that's not deflecting. Uh, the trauma bond gets us stuck because of the intermittent reinforcement, the breadcrumbs, us hoping. And when we start hoping that things will get better, we're still investing. So we're investing more. It seems hard to understand that it's us investing more, but hope, we're thinking about them, whether it's how do I make this better? What do I say? Our energy is still in that relationship, even though the relationship possibly at this point might not even exist, but we're still investing. And when they come back, we have so much invested that we don't want to lose it. We see it as something valuable, just like if you bought a new house and completely refurbished it and all you had to do is put on one more doorknob, you don't want to walk away from that house that you completely remodeled. You have everything done, just this little piece, or you need to paint one bedroom. The narcissist, on the other hand, sees this house as a shell that has not that much value, doesn't have the personal blood, sweat, and tears into the relationship that we have. And also, they don't see what is done, the effort that's been put in. I had told you guys before, like, um, if let's say you're a narcissist, this is like an analogy. They walk in, they see the house is clean, and they're like, what's the big deal? Okay, there's a fork left out. What's the big deal? It's one fork. That's all that's dirty in this house. Like here you are bitching all day long. And this is an analogy, so catch on to the analogy. They don't see that when we did the dishes, we spilled some water, so we wiped that up. Now we got to wash the washcloth, so we bring it downstairs, we put it into the laundry. We got to bring up the laundry from the dryer, fold it away, put it away. We notice the toilet, the basket in the bathroom is overflowing, so we bring that down, take the trash out, like we do all this stuff. We're exhausted. We tried our best, and they didn't see any of that. You know, all those little steps. They're like, okay, she did the dishes. They don't see all the extra little steps, and then you see the dust here and whatever. It's an analogy that we're putting all this effort in. Every time we put effort in, we're seeing the different little things. I skipped a part where you see like a little spot on the wall, so you clean that up and bring that down. But they don't see every little thing that we are seeing because we're trying. Just like if you're trying to clean your house in that kind of fashion, you'll see all these things and we take care of them. So since we take care of them, they're like, what's the big deal? You know, um, you're falling harder. And that's the thing, uh, that we do start falling harder. We do start falling harder. And that's because we haven't accepted that it's not a current relationship. And that's why we have to do that, because we can fall harder. And the harder we fall, the harder it is, the deeper we are that we have to uplift ourselves from. And, that's where we had to tell ourselves, look, if they're not going to call me, they're not worth my time. If they don't want to communicate with me, they're not worth my time. They're not worth the time I'm giving them in my head. They're not worth this and that. And it's different if they were trying, it's different if, there was a situation coming up, but there's no situation that they can't take time for us as even a friend that, you know, they're just not somebody that, uh, and this is the thing too is we enable them as a society. We are enabling people to not communicate the right way. It used to be where everybody gave thank you cards. Now we aren't so much about that. And only one watching. Although, what do you mean only one watching? And I wonder they left me, huh? South Michigan media didn't like me. They left me. I wasn't sure. Debbie, do you remember who JG is? I wasn't sure if that was JG. Somebody had asked me where I was from, and it's just kind of coincidence that this person's also from Michigan. Uh, it says that on the screen. Um, I see two. It's so unreliable as far as what it shows. Sounded like a narc. Yeah, he wanted to give me a hard time. Um, Now too. Okay. Well, I see there's two of you right now. Hopefully, Calibri might join us. I don't know. This I told you guys yesterday. I didn't know when I'd be home from my thing today, so I was able to log in by 11. I said between 9 and 11, so this is later than normal. But it's kind of interesting, I asked him, I'll go right back on it. I'm not trying to deflect, sorry. I admit my flaw. If I did, I still don't know what he was talking about, what I deflected. And it's easier just to run. He just ghosted me. He wanted to give me a hard time. And uh, he even said, "Who are you?" Um, and it's interesting. It's just interesting. Welcome to I I call myself YouTube famous now that I have people harassing me. Um, no one is perfect. Exactly, exactly. And I didn't give him a hard time. I didn't, I admitted it, and that's how quickly people can ghost. I'll give you your answers. Nope, that's not what I want. I don't want answers. I want to either trip you up or put you down or whatever his purpose was, male or female. I don't know. Um, what was the other thing too? I just talked to a little girl today, 12 years old. There's something she said. Yeah, guys, this is like super late for me. Uh, he did like your humor. Yep. And so you got a free comedy show. Welcome to the channel. Um, what did there's yeah, well, she said something I really wanted to talk to you guys about. It was so cute too. This might have been part of it. She's going to be painting her room, and she was asking, "What color do you like? What color do you like?" And so I had asked her, "What color do you like?" She's like, "Well, I don't know. They're just different shades of blue." Okay, and I often wonderful little girl, but you just see the stages of development. Okay. So I'm not saying she's narcissistic. She seems really sweet. Oh, thank you, Lily. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter. Yeah, that I did it with the balayage twice, and I didn't like the color. It wouldn't lighten it, and I'm like, I'm frying my hair. I did it twice. I don't want to try it again, so I just screw it. I'll do it my own way. But thanks. If I do it one more time, it's gonna be look really good. But I appreciate that. Um, and Debbie says, "Hello, Lily. Good, having you here." But the little girl, to show some of the stages of the narcissistic mind, is she wanted to know what color, and even some other people's minds, but what color do you like? They had these paint swatches. They're all different shades of blue. And I asked what she likes, and she's like, I don't know. And she wanted me to pick. And so she had her mom pick, she had me pick, then she had her dad, then she had her dad's friend, and then she even went to the dogs. It was kind of cute. And so she had the paint swatches, and I said, put a treat on it and see which one it goes to. So the one she put the dog treats on, and it sniffed this one first. So that's the color the dog picked. And then the other one she put dog food on, and the dog, um, ate both, but she decided on the first color. But I'm like, "Are you sure that's what you want?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's okay." But the indecisiveness and wanting other people to pick. The mom had also said that she works at, I think, Home Depot. I don't know which place, but she's the paint mixer. And she said, people come up to me and they're like, what color should I get? And she's like, I don't even know. A narcissist is a narc. It's a short term for narcissist. Um, and if you need to know what okay. Um, so yeah, not narcotic, not a tattletale. It's when you hear it on this kind of channel, even if they said they narked me out, they're saying that it was a narc. You won't really hear that phrase, but it's not turned me in for drugs or uh, told on me for whatever. Um, so when people do that, they don't know what they want. They have low self-esteem. They haven't developed what they are, what they like, what they desire. So they'll put it onto somebody else. They put what color paint do I have onto this other person because if they screw up, they can say, well, that was the paint lady's fault. Um, and that's kind of the same with the narcissist is, they put so much stuff on us. So if anything goes wrong, it's our fault. That's a lot of times why they do the deflecting. That's a lot of times why they blame shift us, leave a lot of things up to us. When they know what they want, they want it. But other times they'll leave it up to us. And if it's not something they like, then it's our fault. They don't put in their 2 cents sometimes. Yeah, we can say X narc a lot. Yeah. And there's different terminologies. And that's good. I'm proud of you for asking because that's how we learn. And it also shows you too, like communication sometimes how there are. Thank you guys for those thumbs up. Helps with the algorithms. You try to stay away from people like that. Yeah, and, I started realizing it too because I was not always the best with that. I asked a lot of questions, "What do you think?" But that puts pressure on other people. So, it's, depending on how we do it, like, if I said, "I like blue for this room, do you think blue would be good?" And you could say, "With that purple that you have, that blue doesn't go with this purple." But you could say, "Maybe this color would look better." You can give me your opinion, but when I give you this blanket statement of pick what you want so for what I want, it puts a lot of pressure on our people. Um, why won't he block me for texting? Mine never did either. Be careful. They can put police reports in on you if they decide to get fed up. Uh, you can go to jail over that stuff. You can get harassment, attempt to annoy by telephone. Um, you know, uh, they get an ego stroke, you know, uh, of, you know, I love you. I miss you. Can't we talk? I'm thinking about you all the time. They get everything they want, except except to see you, which is the like, huh? But you know, yeah, just like Lily says, you're inflating his ego, you know, and Debbie says, since I joined this group, Cynthia, you have answered so many questions for me. Good. And ask away. I would love to help. Um, and I like how Lily and others are interjecting their stuff too. Yeah, don't feed his ego. And that's the thing too. When they come back for supply. And we have to remember this. Be careful what you wish for. You might get it. They can come back so we can feed their ego, you know. But this is where it gets tricky is they have such low self-esteem even though they seem like they have high self-esteem, they have low self-esteem. Um, so they're going to start to get irritated. Um, let's say I was self-conscious. Okay. Let's say I'm self-conscious and you were like, you are so beautiful. You are the prettiest girl I've ever met. You are wonderful. You're fantastic. You're perfect. This, that. And I'm like, At first I'm like, "Thanks, that's nice to hear," and then you might kinda feel it, and then you're like, "What the fuck you" "No, I'm not," and now you're just patronizing me, and, um, it doesn't feel real, so if I'm not believing what you are telling me, then it's a empty compliment anyways. So, when you're like, "You're so great," and they're like, I'm an ass. I blew you off. I don't do this. I get irritated by you. This, whatever it is, I've used you, and you're like, but you're so great, and that's why I love you, and we should be together. Um, they can be like, it's not going to make sense to them, because it's not matching up. You know, uh, so he's blocked. Have you blocked him? Because this is the thing. If you're reaching out to him but you're blocking him, um, that's kinda tormenting him. Like, if he wanted to reply to you, you're not allowing it. So, you gotta honor it 2 ways. It's not a two-way street, because like I said about the reactive abuse, you know, um, but if you have him blocked, but you are reaching out to him, um, he's been blocked for 5 days. When was the last time you text him? How long's it been since you texted him? And it's good to be honest, you've been really honest with us. Because, you know, uh, that was a hard part for me was not texting because I would do it like ridiculous amounts of time because we get so uncomfortable that our adrenaline and we go into like panic mode. And, you know, the 11th. Okay. So you blocked him before you sent the text. So he was blocked. So, um, yeah, be careful on that, if you don't want communication with him, then you shouldn't be reaching out to him because that's kind of abusive as well in my eyes. Um, but I get it, Sometimes we want to make our point, but if you're trying to make a point and not letting him rebut it. And Lily says, Debbie. uh Change your cell number. What should you do? I get it, Debbie. Can you tell me before I go forward what you said to him? Um, because I want to address what's on your mind. It wasn't so much that you reached out to him and you had him blocked. There's something in your mind that's pressing, um, and I'd rather address that first. And you don't ever have to share anything you're not comfortable with, but um, you know, what what was your day like that day? Um, you know, all these things play into it. So I can help you once I know a little bit more about your story. Um, but they do keep lines of communication so we can stroke their ego. Also, so they can know what we're up to. I can't live with anybody else but you. And I thought about dating and I don't want to be with anybody. Oh, she's not dating. Or I finally went on a date and then they might come back or whatever it is. It's their toolbox. Like they're not gonna close the toolbox. We keep filling it with supplies they need. Um, I told him I'm seeing someone. I told him about Sam last year. Are you seeing him? Real deal. All ears. Good. Thanks for joining us. I got my Princess Leia ears. Leia. I grew up saying it the wrong way. Childhood trauma. Um, but are you seeing this person? And Judy, hi Judy. Good to have everybody joining in. I wasn't sure. Calibri, we were just talking about you. Hello, hello to everyone. Hi Cynthia. Good to have you guys here. I do like doing them a little bit later. I think that's good for my West Coast people, but I can do that Fridays and Saturdays. But yeah, I can't wait for summer break. That's coming up in 7 more weeks, and then I'll be able to do later night Uh, More people have checked in. And Judy says, "Oh, the divorce did go through. And how are you feeling?" So it seems like you're happy with that. You say, "I'm free." And I remember you, Judy. So free. Good. Good. And the thing is that like how Judy went through a divorce, like it's final and she feels relief that there's times that when we accept it, we can free ourselves. So she had the divorce. Some of us went through a breakup. We didn't even know we went through a breakup because all of a sudden our narcissist ghosts us and that makes it even more difficult. You know, sometimes in relationships you start to see them fall apart. Sometimes you want out, but you know, we have to look at the reality of the situation. Um Debbie says, Sam goes to the bar where my friend Ed is the bartender. It was on again, off again, but I felt guilty like I was cheating on the narc. And I get it. I get what you're saying. Like, I didn't want to move on because, for me, I'm very hard to get to that way, where I don't even like kissing guys that I'm not serious about. So, um, yeah. And when you like for me, I was hoping to get back with them, which that's a trauma bond. But I also kind of wanted to keep my body pure for him. Like I didn't want to risk anything, um, just in case, and I didn't want to have to tell him I was with someone else. So I didn't want to lie to him either. So I just didn't move on. Um, but what were you hoping to gain out of telling him that? So I'm assuming you were saying that you told him about Sam, but I still only kisses so far. I'm not sleeping with him. Are you happy with him? Because if you feel like you're cheating on the narc, are you emotionally available? And you're saying it was on again, off again. And in fairness to Sam, are you ready? Are you ready to dive in? Because Sam might be a great guy. I don't know him. You probably don't know him super well. I don't know how well you know him, but if he is a good guy, that you might push him away. Calibri says, tomorrow I'll be getting a proper protein drink that will supplement my diet, aiming to be healthier. Yeah, I told you about that health journey that I'm on. It's this program. Full disclaimer, I do sell it, but it's really helped with weight loss, joints. Um, it's really changed the way I feel. Plus, it's hard to sometimes too. Is it like because I'm doing this healthier stuff? But, I feel better. It's all falling into place. So that's the physical aspect, but even like the brain, when we work on our brain, like I've had a really good week, um, emotionally and physically. So good for you, Calibri. What flavor are you getting? And that's the thing, get a proper one. Um, Judy says this channel has helped me through this narc horror story. I'm glad. That's nice for me to hear because I'm here to help you guys, we can help each other. I've been there, and I don't wish that upon anybody, and it's sad how many of us have struggled with it. Um, Debbie says, "Only kisses so far. I'm not sleeping with him." And I'm not gonna judge anybody on what they do or don't do, but if you ever decide to sleep with him, make sure it's a full commitment. If s matches with your personality. Don't give up yourself too soon. Usually, the longer you wait, um, the longer the relationship will wait. I've also done studies on cohabitation and, does that lead to a risk of divorce? Um, More risk of a divorce. So all those things, really do play into it and not 100% not thrilled. Um, you're welcome, Judy. Are you saying you're not 100% into him? You're not thrilled with him? Like he's just not the one, just kind of somebody to maybe snuggle with or something. Debbie says, "Hey, Judy, congratulations." So that's the other thing too that's nice about this channel. We can celebrate each other's victories. And, you know, um, there comes a time that we got to choose happiness. You know, relationships do have seasons. I want to do a video on that for you guys, but there's ups and downs, but there's a difference between, you know, ups and downs and just too much of a cycle to where you're not comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you're going to react a certain way. If you react a certain way, they're going to it's just a vicious cycle. Um and they give less and less. Uh So Debbie says, I was trying to be honest with the narc, but I was loyal to him, not like he's loyal to me. And this, you're not dating the narc. You're not about to sleep with him. You're not currently sleeping with the narc. Does he need to know? Does he need to know? Like if you're going to have physical interactions with him, but does he need to know? Uh, what you are and aren't doing with a man, I could tell you guys, maybe I'm dating somebody, but uh do I have to tell you I do this, I do that, we made out, we did this. um if he asks, let him ask. So I'm not saying lie to him, but if he really cares, are you dating someone, then tell him. We tend to start being open books. We either hope for jealousy, or um since there technically was no real reason for you to reach out to him, you kind of wanted to hurt him, to see his reaction, whether it was to be jealous or to be hurt. And um, you know, he's not even talking to you right now, almost 8, 9 months. And you know, plus two, if you think about it, if Sam is a maybe, the fact that you're interacting with the narc, like you're not talking to him, so you don't have to do the goodbye thing or whatever. But you know, it gets tricky too, because you have to decide, um, you know, how you want to handle dating. Sometimes you can handle dating where you date a few people and then decide, if you want to be with me, then I'll let go of the other people. But it comes down to honesty too. So if you're the type of person that dates without making out, it gets complicated. We can do a different video on that if you would like, or I can address it if you want to hear more about it. So Calibri is back to lifting weights with lots of stretches before the weights, which is good. And I've been walking Dixie more. I think well, we can have an afternoon live chat if I don't fall on my skates. I break so easy. I'm gonna go roller skating with the neighbor girl tomorrow. I don't mind going to rinks, but I'm scared about pebbles and stuff on the ground. So good for you lifting those weights, lots of stretches. And you're supposed to stretch afterwards too. At least I don't know, I'm a girl. I don't know if you're trying to bulk up. I know if you want your muscles to stay lean, you're supposed to stretch. I don't know if you want to bulk up. Uh, Kalibi says, I still feel somewhat quizzy and meeting new people. Queasy? Do you mean queasy? We'll take it both ways. Queasy like uneasy, or quizzy like I want to ask you everything. I don't trust you. Either way, that you meant it. I get it. It gets a little nerve-wracking. I'm like that too. I'm still in that stage where it's like, and I told you how I finally let my guard down a little bit and I got bruises from that guy, trying to tell him I'm not doing anything physical. And yeah, he grabbed me so tight on my ass, like tried to give him like just a hug goodbye, like And I did that to kind of like soften it so they didn't get this rejection and attack me. Um, but it was definitely not. It was bruises. Um, and then tonight, though, I went out with my friend for her birthday, and then it was a whole group of people. And then she went out because we came from two different areas to the middle. So she drove an hour and a half, I drove an hour and a half, or 3 hours apart. And we hung out with her childhood friends. And so she went with this group, and then I was gonna go home, and I ended up hanging out with this uh, group from that area. So that's usually not my um, style because I didn't really know them other than today at dinner. But it was also my friend's childhood friend that she's known for 20 some years. So I'm glad I did that. So sometimes too, we have to take certain factors into consideration. Where is home base? Is there some information on character? Um, Judy says, "Thank you, Deb." Yes, we are all happy for you. And um, so, Debbie, I'm curious, in your words, why you felt that you needed to be honest with somebody who's not talking to you. And I've done it too. So I'm not judging you because I've been there, but I'm curious why you wanted to be honest with him. That's part of the cycle. So don't feel I'm hounding you. It's just trying to, sometimes even just by you saying it so you can kind of understand your own actions when we say it out loud. Debbie says, "You deserve it, Judy. That had to be a long road." So true. Probably not. Okay. Um, and then Alicia says, "I prefer to meet people in a public place." Yes. And that's, I agree. I agree. And that's what I've been doing. I still, go out to dinner with like, and they're like friend dates. They're not kissy dates or anything like that. They're not cuddle dates. Um, so you say you felt his, oh, Debbie. Okay. Last night around 10:30, I felt the narc trying to get me to miss him. Debbie, um, I can see that there's a lot going on. Um, I am not a certified therapist. I am certified to teach psychology. I also am a certified life coach. But um, have you reached out to Nami? Because he's not reaching out to you. That's your thoughts of him. Um, and there comes a time when we want something so much that sometimes we start distorting it a little bit, or some of our memories. Um, uh, we can focus on the good instead of the bad. But you've said this several times over um, a month or so, maybe 2 months. You disagree with what? That it's not him? Debbie, you're not losing yourself. You are just amusing yourself, but if it's detrimental, then you cannot be a glutton. Kalibi says, with the knowledge that I've gathered about the red flags, I was the one who discarded the narcs in my building and the supposed to be boyfriend narc, who turned out to be someone psychotic. Um, So Debbie, I know sometimes I say things kind of flip it. I like to be silly and funny. But sometimes sarcasm has sometimes a little bit of truth to it. And you say that you're losing it. I know sometimes it's like that was silly that I thought that. So it's not always like super serious when we say it, but do you feel there's a little truth that your mind's overtaking um your peace? Because this is the thing, is as far as religion, I try not to get too religious with you guys, because I can't prove it. I could sit here and do biblical, la, la, la. like my dad dedicated his whole life to that. He has really good points and really good, um, if you listen to all the intricacies. But as far as concrete evidence that you will need to 100% believe me, um, I can give a couple little directional things as far as I try to keep it extended out so you guys can form your interpretations of what you need. And that's why I say universe, your God, yourself, whatever. But as far as spirits, demons, I've had some things that seem like ghost or paranormal, so I get it. Some people believe in astral projection. There's also certain distortions that go on. And I'm not saying those are uh, certain things that our mind does, like how I blocked out being a burn victim. Also, they talk about near end of life, where a lot of people see lights or do certain reaching. All these things I'm studying almost nonstop to get answers. So I can't say that something that you're not hearing something, like I believe you hear something, um, or sense. I think sometimes too you can sense the words, if that makes sense to you guys. But I would have an easier time with demons or angels, ghosts. But as far as him himself, um, I don't know how much of that would be possible for it to be truly him. Um, and I'd like you guys to kind of weigh in on that because, like I said, I uh, don't want to discount what you guys believe. Just like if it was a different religion, I will respect what you believe because I can't prove 100% my own religion. Even if I did, it'd be like 96%. And there's just enough that maybe I'm wrong. Just like that Sixth Sense movie where you could prove what reality is, and boom, right at the end, you're like, oh, I just needed that one little piece. That one little piece was missing, and the whole thing is different. Um, but I told you about that podcast I was supposed to do that on psychedelics. I am not endorsing or not endorsing. That's why I interviewed Bennett Schiller, who's getting his doctorate in it, and just trying to understand it. And then I found this one lady who was taking ketamine, and she's hearing voices, and she has such a real experience. Telling herself to kill herself, and she knows she's not safe. She's like, "It was so real. I cannot believe it was not real. It felt real." And it was overpowering her. And she had to believe all these people telling her that it wasn't. It was this horrible experience. Currently, right now, she is in a mental rehabilitation center. She checked herself in. She was hearing things. I told you about my neighbor. Um, you could see a change, but I am giving you my perception is um it might be more going on. Um, we talk about red flags with our narcissist and certain things to look out for. So, as far as, and I don't know if red flags is the right word. Um, uh, we'll call them white flags. We'll call them white flags, like a little surrender, like I give up. I need to have some help. Um, I'm just worried about the way that you say that. No, Debbie, what do you tell you're hold on. Uh, Kalibi, hold on, let me catch up with you guys. Lily says sometimes if we're bored, like maybe that's what you're going through, but don't hurt yourself emotionally. We can tear ourselves up. We can. And there's also that broken heart syndrome, which is can be deadly, you know. Kalibi says, I am sure that I didn't act hastily with my decision to discard them. I've seen the red flags and I had the gut feeling that they are. Yeah, sometimes too, do we need actual proof? No, just like with my religion, I told you I might be missing I'm just going to believe what I need to believe because we can't always prove everything. And there comes a time when you're like, what I believe is enough. Lily says, I mean, it's not a big deal if you can control it. And if you're bored and need to be amused. Debbie says, I think I'm better off to go. No contact and move forward. My pastor said that, yes, they can play mind games on you, but you need to stay strong in God's words. And your pastor's right, but the way it's worded, um, because it gets so technical and so just a different perspective. If you've ever seen those statues where you can completely see through them and then you shift how it kind of, I don't even know if this is going to pull up the right way. Um, but you can see completely through and you turn and it's like a solid wall or it turns into a statue of like a lion or whatever. But you look at something in a certain perspective that you're like, yeah, it's very little. You just see this part. Like you don't even see the rest of the hand. You just see but then a different perspective, it looks totally different. So as far as mind games, they can play mind games. Um, but in this instance, this portion is whether we're used to mind games or there are times we allow ourselves to play mind games on ourselves. And sometimes this, cognitive dissonance can play into that too. But it gets tricky when, let's say, the narcissist doesn't call you back, and we can say they're playing games. Some of them really don't give a fuck. Some of them forget, some of them are busy, some of them are hiding things. So we call that playing games. Um, it's like a catch-all phrase. And, that's where our self-esteem comes in, that we avoid the game, that we don't play the game, um, where we have the self-esteem to block the games that are kind of played with our head. But what goes on in our head is because of what we allow. So our they're giving us something we shouldn't play with because that's where the game comes in. And if you see where I'm circling, that's where the mind is processing things. So we are entertaining the game, if that makes sense. Um, so Lily says, so don't be so hard on yourself. And and Debbie says, Lily, I think it comes naturally for me. And that's where we have to, and I know what you meant. Yeah, she continues saying hard on herself. We have to look at ourselves too, where we taught to be the good little girl, where taught to be obedient and, do we have a hard time making decisions? Where we may be bullied in school or not feeling like we were pretty enough, fit enough, acceptable enough, whatever the situation is. There's a reason we're hard on ourselves, where we compare to our brothers and sisters. And do we feel helpless or not enough love, or we got frustrated, didn't know how to express ourselves? There's so many different things that when we know who we are, we can build our self-esteem up more. And then those games don't start playing with our head. So they set up the stage, but we interact with it. So the action, um, it's kind of like that transition. So Cleve says, can you explain about the karma that hit the male narc that raged at me? Now he needs to get a hip replacement surgery. Um, and this is one thing, and you guys might not like what I'm going to say. Um, he did kick something. So if he hurt something, it would probably be his foot. That can throw your hip out, but he is an older gentleman. I probably need hip replacement too. Not everything we go through will be karma. Um, because sometimes we are utilized. I heard this really interesting thing too. That was kind of what I was trying to say too, that if kind of like we're not as significant as we think we are, we're put on this earth to help other people. So your interaction with him, it might seem like a karma for your interaction with him. Um, because good things happen or bad things happen to good people too. I was 5 years old and I caught on fire. I don't know what I did by age 5 to catch on fire. Um, you know, that little 6-year old that we just had that carnival for, so there are, his brain it was expanding hour by hour by hour, and I don't think he's gonna make it. I don't even know today if he's still alive. Um, so I won't always say that bad things are karma. Um, and I I don't know. Some people see things like that as karma. It could be, but usually I would think a better karma would be a lesson learned. And that could, I guess that could relate a little bit. Take care of your body. Um, that one I'm not sure because I've had so many broken bones, like it's ridiculous. Broke my collarbone, my fingers, both arms, both legs, tailbone 3 times. Like yeah, I don't know. Um, so yeah, I don't know how to answer that one. Um, depends on how much I believe in the there are some punishments that will come your way. There are some punishments sometimes, but I think God doesn't punish every wrong, if that makes sense. But everything that we do will change something. Even when he kicked that, maybe it kicked up a dandelion and the dandelion flew and somebody's allergic to it. So then that mom had to take the kid to the hospital. Like all these little stupid little scenarios I could come up with. But um, every little thing will change the energy. Um, and that could be too. Maybe he's going to be down and out. And maybe it could be Calibri that maybe it is a lesson. Don't fuck with people. Now nobody's here to help you. So that could be it too. If it is a karma, that would be a lesson learned because he's down and out, can't move around. So maybe that's it. How's that? Lily's sorry it took me a long time on that one. Are you talking about uh tell me who you're talking about, Lily? Melissa is here. Hi, Melissa. Good to have you. Yay, we got the group. Um, and Debbie says, I have never felt this crap in my entire life until I met the narc. This only happened since he went silent on me. Um, so this is where I get worried. Um, Lily, I'd like you to answer first. I'm going to call on if you could tell me who you said sounds schizophrenic, and then I'll say my statement. Melissa says hi to everyone. Debbie says hello. And Lily says hi to Melissa. Kalibi. So it will be another story that there might be complications in hip surgeries. Not that I'm wishing that on him. Yeah, I mean, well, um, even just the downtime from surgery, even if it's just he just wants a glass of water tonight, had surgery today, he can't go get it. It can even be a minute. It doesn't have to be that there's even complications. There can be, but this is yeah, and we never know the true karma. You know, uh, let's say somebody got in a car accident. We're like, haha, motherfucker, there's your karma. We don't realize that car accident saved them from a fatal crash later on or something, you know, 2 miles down the road, they got in an accident first before. So sometimes we think certain things we don't know, and that's where I have a hard time with succinct answers because my mind thinks in so many different aspects. But one of the complications is blood clots and heart failure. It is. And 40% of blood clots occur within 4 months of surgery. Um, and heart failure too. Yeah, and he's an older gentleman, and you can get pneumonia from surgery if you're not active. Your friend that heard voices and is oh yeah, um, and is in a mental facility. I know she was struggling with suicidal thoughts, and then she did the ketamine, and she had 2 doses, I think, or was going in for her 2nd dose. Yeah, I think she had 2 doses, and, so I don't know if it's a bad trip from a hallucinogenic too. So that's why as far as, like, figuring out what's wrong with somebody is you have to know were there drugs, and it was under a doctor's care, but some people react different ways too. That's why I was really hoping to interview her. As long as she's okay, I think she's still going to talk to me. Um, so yeah, she probably is. Uh, no, Debbie says, Lily, I thought you meant me. Definitely not me. And um, I think yours, Debbie, is the origin, because like I talk to myself. I'm not schizophrenic. Should you do? You got to get motivated, Cindy. Come on, let's get going. Go grab your purse. Don't forget this. We can talk to ourselves. That doesn't mean we're schizophrenic, but I'm just concerned that your interpretation, and this is just my perspective, that your interpretation is he is telling me. Um, and I know sometimes we mean it in a general thing. I think you mean it a little more precise. Um, so if you mean it in a general way, I think it's healthier to say, um, the thoughts in my head are telling me this in his voice, unless you really think it's him, exactly him, somehow projecting it into your head. So can you tell me if Debbie, is it his voice going into your head, or is it the voices um, from memories and things like that? I don't know if that's making sense. Because I know sometimes we speak in general terms, but yours sounds a little bit more. Oh, he has had yeah, time will tell. Um, you say he has a history of having had strokes. So that's not good. And this is the thing too, strokes will alter emotions as well. So I don't know how long you've known him. Sometimes maybe his attitude is from the brain damage from the strokes. That can change emotions. So they might not be actually a narcissist. Um, okay, yeah. So Klebe says a year ago, I noticed a part of his face collapsed on one side, and I think that was an effective stroke. It could either be how do you say it? Ball's palsy, palsy, um, Ball's palsy, Sorry, I'm tired. Uh, Ball's palsy. Um, even Justin Bieber with his, I can't remember the name of his thing, the side of his face. Sometimes it's from infections or things like that. But Ramsey Hunt, wait, is he a Ramsey Hunt? Um, but yeah, at his age is probably a stroke. I'd probably agree. So I know I understand that part, Debbie, that you heard his voice. I understand that. But like if you went to bed, or let's say tomorrow, Debbie, tomorrow, um, you hear my voice telling you, don't call him. Okay. Let's say 9 o'clock in the morning, you hear me saying, don't call him. And would you think that that's your memory from our interactions? Or would you think 9 o'clock, Cynthia woke up and directly said to you, all the way from Michigan, into your brain, telepathically said, don't call him? Do you think it would be from memory or from 9 a.m. direct? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Lily says that's sad, Calibri. Um, Lily says, no, Debbie, not you. You're normal. You wouldn't hear me. But I'm just saying, if it was the same, try to think outside of the box because it's an analogy, it's a hypothetical. But if you had that connection with me, if you had that, or even if you hear it at 9 a.m. from him, if you need to do it that way, 9 a.m. from him, is it coming from him waking up at 9 a.m. and telling you something at 9 a.m., or is it your thoughts hearing his voice? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So it was an analogy I used myself, hoping it would be easier, but I think it made it more difficult. 9 a.m., you hear, call me. I want you to miss me. Is that him at 9 a.m. saying, I want you to miss me? Or is it your memory or your mind saying it? Um, eh, Lily says, I did mental commitment hearings for 15 years, heard and saw it all. Yes. And this, did you notice one pattern that was kind of like the catch-all that, or the biggest red flag? Kalibi says, I think what's happening to Debbie is part of ruminating trauma. And that's what I'm thinking. It's just the way that she words it that I'm concerned about because she's saying it's him. And that's why I don't know if she is picturing him walking around his apartment saying, call me, miss me, or is it her mind? And I'm not saying like a mental illness mind. I'm saying trauma based. I just want to see where she feels is coming from. So yes, they don't look crazy. Um, I think what you're saying is the people that get committed, they don't all look crazy. There's some that, yeah, you almost never know it. I see some people across Facebook sharing some of the things. It's like, oh, you had that? Ooh. But that one schizophrenic lady that I had, she, you could see her affect change. Um, her skin coloring. Melissa says, my counselor told me that I have, oh, good. I was so busy today with my friend's birthday. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Your counselor told me that this is Melissa, I have a chemical imbalance and brain damage preventing me from producing any positive feelings. I want to feel positive. And so this is where uh, we can stimulate some of that production. We can stimulate some of that production, Melissa. So when we put that into practice, I heard somebody call it or mental fitness, not mental health, but mental fitness. So we're getting stronger every day. So, splashing cold water on your face can reset the vagus nerve. Some people like ice baths. No way am I doing that. Or cold showers. There's ways to increase your serotonin, your healthy levels, reduce your cortisol. So Melissa, sorry, I was going to get to that tomorrow. I'm usually a lot quicker. I taught yesterday, had that carnival for the kid with cancer right after school. Plus I had an IEP meeting and then I did a live chat. So I had no time yesterday and today was pretty booked with my friend's birthday party out of state. So yeah, I did do a video on some of the ways we can increase our um, happy feelings. And um, The trauma, yeah. Now, is your brain damage, yours was from trauma? I got 2 Melissas. I gotta start paying attention to last names. And we're praying for you too, Melissa. So if it's okay, I'm gonna call you Melissa Mo because we got another Melissa too. Um, so we'll help you with that, Melissa. Debbie says I was watching TV the other night and playing my games on my phone, just minding my business, and he was like, "Text me, text me." No, I don't think of him walking around his house. I just hear him. Nothing else. It comes and goes in a matter of seconds. Um, hmm. So it blocks out. Um, Debbie, I'm trying to remember, Debbie. Did you have any uh like diagnosis of depression, anxiety, or anything else? Uh, hmm. Okay. I'm thinking on you, Debbie. Um, and does it only happen when you're watching TV? Kalibi said, or TV or the radio. Kalibi says that's why no contact is essential to our healing. Block them. Yeah, because it's just causing more trauma on us, and some of the trauma we perpetuate by the, constant thinking. We're keeping our brain from getting the feel-good hormones. Just like if we shelter in place, we're not getting our vitamin D because 'cause we're not going out and getting it, unless you take supplements, things like that, but when we're not replacing the chemicals that we need in our brain, because there is damage where, um we need to replenish it. Uh, so you did get PTSD, okay. And it was probably CPTSD. Was it was over a prolonged period of time, right? OCD and ADHD. Okay. Um, yeah, ADHD. Oh, thank you, Melissa Mo. And Kalibi says thumbs up, guys. You guys, thank you. I appreciate that too. 2 ads just popped on. Oh, they did. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys heard me. Um, so Debbie says my therapist, it's from my childhood trauma. Yeah, so it's probably CPTSD. And that's one thing that concerns me is your therapist called it PTSD instead of CPTSD. When did you get those diagnoses? How long ago was that? Um, because that's kind of um, like an uh, it should be CPTSD in my opinion. Last month. It shouldn't be. You see him Monday. Ask him if he thinks it's more CPTSD and talk to him about the tell him I noticed your word pattern. Should that be of concern that you say he is making you do that? Does that sound fair? What are you OCD about? Yeah, what are some of the things do you have your obsessive compulsive disorder? What are your compulsions and how do you deal with them? Um, stimming is where you kind of stimulate yourself. You might do certain, some people do certain things to stimulate themselves. That's called stimming. No, my therapist said I disagree, but I'm not licensed. Damn it. Um, did you asked him if he didn't think it was CPTSD? Because PTSD is from a one-time event. So did you have something extremely traumatic at one time? Sometimes there's sexual assault. Um, her child. I'm getting confused on that. Her childhood is what, yeah, from childhood trauma. But the way that's worded, I just want to make sure, it wasn't like a one-time rape or something like that, because you can say that's your childhood trauma, like my burn victim could be. I had, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Um, that's CPTSD. There's no way it's just PTSD. Because, real quick, Um, and the only reason I bring that up, I am not a licensed therapist, but the reason is if he's saying that it's PTSD, and if you ask him, do you mean CPTSD? And he says, no, 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 just PTSD, that if I'm correct, that he's using the wrong terminology. And if he's using the wrong terminology, does he have the right diagnoses for you? Um, Difference between PTSD and CPTSD. Oops, typo, of course. Because I can tell you, but I want to see. Because I basically did, but come on. The main difference, here we go, guys. Complex, which is a CPTSD, can result from experiencing chronic trauma, such as prolonged child abuse or domestic violence. It's closely related to PTSD and borderline personality disorder. CPTSD is manageable with psychotherapy and talk medication. Um, that- so, what's the difference? Are the length of trauma and the symptoms. PT, PTSD generally develop from short-term trauma, such as a vehicle accident. Both of them involve symptoms that are flashbacks, hypervigilant. If you have CPTSD, you have problems with emotional regulation, which is what we're kind of seeing, which is normal. There are differences between CPTSD and borderline, similar uh, things, but um, okay, so the main difference is that chronic trauma has to be the cause of CPTSD, whereas trauma doesn't have to be the cause of borderline. However, borderline is strongly associated. Yeah, and borderline usually develops by young adulthood, and CPTSD can happen at any age. Thank you, thank you. I was a perfect child, and then he fucked my world up. Um, so CPTSD affects 1 to 8% of the world population. Uh, Um, C stands for complex, and T stands for trauma. The P is for uh, post, afterwards. The compl- plus you were raped when you were 18 from a friend. Um, yeah, let's not call him friend. I get what you're saying though. So PTSD, uh, that can be the 18-year-old thing. He can call it PTSD, and I'll accept that for that diagnosis for that, but he's not paying attention to your childhood if he's just focusing on that. He might feel that that would be more traumatic than what you went through for that prolonged period of time. Um, but yeah, complex post traumatic stress disorder. Is that what you're asking me, Lily? Uh, Kalibi says, my neighbor upstairs. Let me know, Lily, if you're asking about CPTSD, if the letters in that, or if you're asking what CT and CP stand for. My neighbors upstairs just bought a brand new camper and it's parked just right in front of the Narc's place. On purpose, are you guys giving them a hard time? Now they will see a new shiny toy to be envious with. I know that they've mentioned about getting a camper someday. How hurry to my neighbor upstairs. She knows how to torture the narcs. And be careful though. I know sometimes we want our little karma or revenge, but that's just fueling the fire. You know, we're gonna have to have that backlash happen one time. That we're gonna push them too far. Be careful. Some of them um, will attack fiercely. Um, so, just like I was saying, with the criminal stuff, like the reactive abuse, you know, you guys are going to do what you're going to do, but is he leaving you alone right now? Do we need to torment him more? Be careful on that. But I get it. Sometimes we get a little kick out of it, but that's being narcissistic too. We all have some narcissistic traits. Debbie says, I've been dealing with this crap my whole life, and the narc put the cherry on top. Yeah, and sometimes too, um, that we can have little breaks. Have you told him about the way you're hearing things? I just want to make sure. Okay, yeah, for complex. He made you vulnerable. Yep. And uh and sometimes too we get used to bad things happening to us. Um that's kind of expected sometimes. And it sounds crazy, but there's there isn't you haven't completely accepted that it's over, because you still want to reach out. You still want to tell him what you're doing. If you've accepted that it's over, then you know uh, yeah. um, I'll believe that your therapist told you I'm addicted to the abuse. I'm just worried about the way you're hearing the words. So I don't like the fact he didn't say it was CPTSD. Um, ask him if he could have both. He's leaving out the CPTSD. I believe he can have both, but I think he's missing a diagnosis. Uh, that's just my take on it. And treatments can be different for that too. If you're missing one of the comorbidities, and uh, I don't know if that's a red flag on your therapist. So that's what I feel. Um, but there are going to be ups and downs, and it can take a while. Uh, is he giving you any exercises to do? Any things? You say you will mail me on what he says. Yeah. And I wouldn't say my YouTuber says this. Don't put him on the defense. Just ask him. I was kind of curious, about could it possibly be also that, we got to be careful when we put people on the defensive. He's going to try to back himself up. It's just natural human instinct. So just say, I'm curious, could it be that too? That would just be my suggestion. You can word it however you want. But tomorrow, we can do an afternoon if you would like. I don't know. What do you guys like? 3 p.m., something like that, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I know we got a lot of people in here. Guys, feel free to let me know some of the things you're struggling with, or feel free to join in. John should hopefully be back. I don't know. He's still having his phone problems, but um, there is that NAMI and the 988 suicide hotline. One is our country code, but I hope you guys are starting to enjoy the nice weather. I'm looking forward to the sun. Sometimes even just sitting outside um, can make you feel good. Try to keep your surroundings clean and safe, and we're going to get through this together, guys. So, Debbie, I'm looking forward to that email. And then, in closing, the being addicted to the abuse. I gave you guys that analogy of when my grandmother was passing away every day after school. She was staying in our dining room as we were taking care of her. That was her makeshift room. And how's grandma doing? How's grandma doing today? And you get in a habit of, this is what reality is. Grandma's sick. How is she? And she had passed away. And I knew that. I mentally knew it. But I still want to say, how's grandma? Or when I get home, I got to ask how grandma's doing, or I need to go in the dining room. And it took, I don't even know, anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks, I don't even know. And then, maybe a few months later, I had that fleeting thought. It was really odd. It's like, I know what happened, but our mind is still catching up. Our mind's still processing it. So we have to give our minds some time to catch up too. And this is what reality is. And the raising of your self-esteem, the positive self-talk, and giving yourself some of what you're lacking. So address what you're lacking, and I can help you with that, and we can help rebalance. And when we rebalance, it helps to rewire. So thank you guys for all those thumbs up, and I can't wait to see you guys again. Um, Let me know what time works for you. I'll post tomorrow. I'm thinking, I don't know, depends. I'm gonna go roller skating. We'll see how nice of a day it is. But I'll be logging in to talk to you guys. So get some sleep. Sleep's important. It's 1 a.m. almost, so I'm gonna get some sleep. Lots of love to you guys. You are a soul survivor. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sounds good. We will do that, and being busy with constructive things. Yeah, and you'll feel proud about things, and make progress. Excellent point. So we'll do 6 p.m. I can do that. That's perfect for me. Lots of love, guys. Good night.